You have been lied to your entire life. They told you that anger is power, that rage is strength, that when someone disrespects you, your fury is justified. But here is the truth that Machiavelli understood 5 centuries ago, and that most men will never grasp. Anger is not power. Anger is surrender. The moment you feel that heat rising in your chest, the moment your jaw tightens and your fists clench, you have already lost. You have handed the keys of your kingdom to whoever provoked you. They are now driving your mind, your emotions, your actions. And you, the so-called strong man, are just a passenger in your own life. This is the trap. This is the game that weak people play without even knowing they are playing it. They poke, they prod, they disrespect, and when you explode, they win. Not because they are smarter, not because they are stronger, but because they found your button and pressed it. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must never act out of emotion, only out of calculation. The man who controls himself controls the room. The man who loses himself to anger becomes a tool in someone else's hand. Think about every time you have been angry, every argument, every confrontation, every moment you said something you regretted or made a decision you later wished you could take back. What did your anger give you? Nothing. It took from you. It took your clarity. It took your dignity. It took your strategic advantage. Today, that cycle ends. You are going to learn how to become untouchable, not through aggression, not through suppression, but through something far more dangerous: understanding. Cold, calculated, Machiavellian understanding. The kind that makes you impossible to manipulate. Let us begin. Understanding the game. Here is what most people will never understand. The world is a stage. Every interaction is a performance. And the vast majority of people walking this earth are sleepwalking through their roles. They react without thinking. They speak without strategy. They provoke without purpose. When someone insults you, when someone disrespects you, when someone tries to drag you into their chaos, understand this: they are not operating from a place of power. They are operating from a place of unconsciousness. They are slaves to their own emotions, their own insecurities, their own unresolved wounds, and they want you to join them in that prison. Machiavelli observed that men are driven by 2 things: fear and self-interest. When someone attacks you verbally, when someone tries to belittle you or undermine you, they are acting from fear. Fear of your potential, fear of your presence, fear of something within themselves they cannot face. This is the game, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The man who understands human nature at this level does not get angry. He gets curious. He watches. He studies. He sees the puppet strings attached to every person in the room. While others are reacting, he is collecting information. While others are losing control, he is gaining it. You must train yourself to see every provocation as a window into the other person's psychology. What are they afraid of? What do they want? What wound is driving this behavior? When you ask these questions instead of reacting with emotion, you shift from victim to observer, from pawn to player. The game has always been happening around you. The difference now is that you are finally awake. You see the board, you see the pieces, and you will never be moved unconsciously again. The mask of indifference. There is a weapon more powerful than any word you could speak, more devastating than any punch you could throw. It is the mask of indifference, the face that reveals nothing, the eyes that show no wound. Machiavelli understood that perception is reality. It does not matter what you feel inside. What matters is what you display to the world. The man who appears unbothered becomes unbothered in the minds of those watching. And in the game of power, appearance is everything. When someone attacks you and you show no reaction, something shifts. They expected fire. They expected chaos. They expected to see you crumble or explode. Instead, they get nothing. Silence, stillness, a cold, steady gaze that says, "You are beneath my emotional investment." This is psychological warfare at its finest. You do not need to fight back. You do not need to defend yourself. Your composure is your defense. Your indifference is your attack. Practice this. Master this. When you feel the heat rising, let your face go cold. When you feel words rushing to your tongue, swallow them. Let the silence stretch. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let them question whether their strike even landed. The unreadable man is the most dangerous man in any room, because no one knows his next move. No one knows his true thoughts. No one knows where they stand with him. This is power. Not the loud, desperate power of the man who must prove himself, but the quiet, suffocating power of the man who has nothing to prove. Wear the mask until the mask becomes your face. Train your reactions until stillness is your default. Let them call you cold. Let them call you heartless. They will never call you weak, and they will never control you again. Reframe the attack. Every insult is a gift. Every attack is a confession. You just need to know how to read it. When someone comes at you with disrespect, with mockery, with aggression, they are not revealing something about you. They are revealing everything about themselves, their insecurities, their fears, their desperation. The weak man hears an insult and thinks, "What is wrong with me?" The Machiavellian hears an insult and thinks, "What is wrong with them?" This is the reframe that changes everything. You must train your mind to see every provocation as information, not injury. When a man mocks your ambition, he is telling you he has none. When a man attacks your confidence, he is showing you he lacks his own. When a man tries to humiliate you publicly, he is broadcasting his need for validation to everyone watching. Once you understand this, anger becomes impossible. How can you be angry at someone who is simply exposing their own weakness? How can you be bothered by words that say more about the speaker than they ever could about you? Machiavelli wrote that wise men learn more from their enemies than fools learn from their friends. Every person who attacks you is teaching you something. They are showing you what threatens them. They are showing you where their pain lives. They are handing you a map to their psychology. Use it, store it, remember it. The next time someone tries to wound you with words, do not ask yourself why they said it. Ask yourself why they needed to say it. What emptiness are they trying to fill? What inadequacy are they trying to mask? When you see the brokenness behind the aggression, you will never take another insult personally again. Their words become noise, and you remain untouched. The power of strategic silence. Silence is not the absence of power. Silence is power in its purest form. When someone provokes you and you say nothing, you create a vacuum, and in that vacuum, their own words echo back at them. Their own aggression turns inward. They expected resistance, they prepared for battle. Instead, they got emptiness. And nothing unsettles a person more than the absence of reaction. Machiavelli knew that the man who speaks first often loses. Words are commitments. Words are positions. Words can be used against you. But silence is untouchable. Silence cannot be quoted. Silence cannot be twisted. Silence cannot be defeated. When you refuse to engage, you force the other person to fill the space. And in their desperation to fill it, they reveal more than they intended. They over-explain. They escalate. They make mistakes. All while you watch. All while you learn. All while you remain in complete control. The pause is your weapon. Master it. When someone insults you, do not rush to respond. Let 1 second pass, then 2, then 3. Watch their discomfort grow. Watch them question whether their strike landed. Watch the power shift in real time without you uttering a single word. Most men are addicted to reaction. They believe they must defend every attack, answer every accusation, match every insult with a sharper one. This is weakness disguised as strength. The truly powerful man knows that his silence speaks louder than any comeback ever could. It says, "You are not worth my energy." It says, "Your words do not reach me." It says, "I am operating on a level you cannot touch." Let them rage into the void. Let them exhaust themselves against your stillness. Your silence is a fortress, and no one is getting inside. Detachment from outcome. Here is the chain that keeps most men enslaved. They need approval. They need validation. They need the world to confirm that they are enough, and because they need it, they can be controlled by it. Withdraw the approval, and they crumble. Withhold the validation, and they spiral. This is not power. This is dependency, dressed in a suit. Machiavelli understood that the man who needs nothing from others cannot be manipulated by others. The moment you release your grip on how people perceive you, you become free, truly free. Not the fake freedom of pretending you do not care while secretly dying inside, but the real freedom of genuinely placing your worth beyond the reach of external opinion. Ask yourself this: why does an insult hurt? Because somewhere inside you believe it might be true, or because somewhere inside you need the person to think highly of you. Remove both of these and the insult has no landing place. It passes through you like wind through an open window. You must build your validation from within. Your sense of worth must come from your own standards, your own code, your own judgment of yourself. When you achieve this, you become untouchable, not because you are arrogant, not because you are delusional, but because your foundation is internal, not external. No one can take from you what you do not source from them. Let them disapprove. Let them criticize. Let them reject. These are just weather patterns outside your window. They do not enter your house. They do not touch your core. The man who masters detachment does not need the world to bow. He does not need enemies to apologize. He does not need anyone to understand him. He understands himself, and that is the only approval that was ever worth having. See people as instruments. This is where we enter darker territory. This is where most men lack the stomach to follow. But if you want true immunity from the emotional chaos others create, you must learn to see people differently, not as friends or enemies, not as allies or threats, but as instruments, functions, pieces on a board that either serve your mission or do not. Machiavelli did not write for idealists, he wrote for realists. And the reality is this: most people in your life are passing through. They enter, they exit, they serve a role for a season. When you attach emotionally to every person, you give them power over your inner state. When they praise you, you rise. When they criticize you, you fall. You become a puppet, dancing on strings you did not even know were tied to you. The Machiavellian cuts these strings. He observes people with clinical detachment. He asks simple questions. What does this person bring to my life? What role do they serve? Are they useful or are they noise? This is not cruelty. This is clarity. You can still treat people with respect. You can still act with integrity, but you do not hand them the keys to your emotions simply because they exist in your orbit. When someone disrespects you, the question is not, how dare they? The question is, does this person matter to my mission? If yes, handle it strategically. If no, discard and move forward. No anger, no resentment, no wasted energy. People are variables in your equation. Some add value, some subtract it. Your job is to calculate coldly and allocate your emotional investment only where it serves you. The moment you master this, no one will ever have power over you again. You choose who matters, and most do not. Master your inner kingdom. Before you can rule anything in this world, you must first rule yourself. This is the foundation that Machiavelli never let his readers forget. A prince who cannot govern his own impulses will be devoured by those who can. A man who cannot control his own reactions is already conquered, even if he does not know it yet. Your inner kingdom is the only territory that truly belongs to you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your responses, this is your domain. And if you do not patrol its borders with ruthless discipline, invaders will enter freely. Every person who makes you angry has invaded your kingdom. Every situation that disturbs your peace has breached your walls. Every word that lingers in your mind and poisons your mood is an enemy walking freely through your halls. This cannot continue. You must become the tyrant of your own mind, not cruel to yourself, but absolutely, unquestionably in command. When a thought arises that does not serve you, execute it. When an emotion surfaces that weakens your position, starve it. When a reaction begins to form that would give power to another, strangle it before it reaches your face. This is not suppression. This is sovereignty. Most men are ruled by their emotions because they have never decided to rule them instead. They let anger arise and call it natural. They let resentment fester and call it justified. They let bitterness poison their days and call it the fault of others. The Machiavellian takes complete ownership. He knows that no one can make him feel anything. They can only offer a stimulus. What he does with that stimulus is entirely his choice. Train yourself daily. Meditate on your reactions. Review your triggers. Study the moments when you lost control and dissect them like a general reviewing a lost battle. Where did the breach occur? What thought preceded the emotion? What belief made you vulnerable? When you know your weaknesses, you can fortify them. When you understand your patterns, you can interrupt them. The man who has mastered his inner kingdom walks through chaos untouched. Storms rage around him, but inside his walls there is order. Enemies scream at his gates, but inside his mind there is silence. This is the goal, not to become emotionless, but to become so sovereign over your emotions that no external force can move you without your permission. Rule yourself first, then the world will have no choice but to respect your reign. The long game. The fool reacts in the moment. The Machiavellian responds in time. This distinction separates the men who are remembered from the men who are forgotten. When someone wrongs you, every fiber of your being screams for immediate retaliation. Strike back, hurt them, make them pay now. But this is the path of the amateur. This is how weak men operate. They sacrifice long-term victory for short-term satisfaction. And in doing so, they expose themselves, exhaust their resources, and often create enemies they did not need to create. Machiavelli taught that timing is everything. The wise prince does not act when emotion demands it. He acts when strategy permits it. He waits. He watches. He allows his enemy to believe the matter is settled, that no consequences are coming. And then, when the moment is perfect, when his adversary has dropped their guard and forgotten the original offense, he moves, swiftly, precisely, devastatingly. This is the long game, and it requires a level of patience that most men simply do not possess. You must learn to hold your response like a card you will play later. Not from weakness, not because you are afraid, but because you understand that revenge, if it must come, is most effective when it is cold. Hot revenge is sloppy. It is emotional. It leaves fingerprints everywhere, and often costs you more than it costs your enemy. Cold revenge is surgical. It is calculated. It comes when least expected and leaves no room for retaliation. But here is the deeper truth. When you master the long game, you often realize that revenge is unnecessary. Time has a way of handling your enemies for you. The man who wronged you will wrong others. His patterns will catch up to him. His character will create consequences you never had to orchestrate. Your patience becomes your greatest weapon because it allows you to conserve energy while the universe does the work. Do not announce your intentions. Do not threaten. Do not warn. Simply observe, remember, and continue building your empire in silence. Let them think you have forgotten. Let them believe they escaped consequence. The long game player knows that nothing is forgotten. Everything is filed away. And when the time is right, the account will be settled on terms you dictate. Patience is not passive. Patience is power waiting for its perfect moment. Become untouchable. You have walked through the fire of these words. You have heard truths that most men will spend their entire lives running from. And now you stand at a threshold. On one side is the old you, the reactive one, the man who gave his power away every time someone pushed his buttons, the man who let strangers, co-workers, family members, and even complete fools on the internet disturb his peace and hijack his emotions. That version of you served a purpose. He taught you what weakness feels like. He showed you the cost of living without strategy. But his time is over. On the other side of this threshold is the man you are becoming, the untouchable one, the man who moves through the world with cold clarity, the man whose emotions are tools, not chains, the man who sees provocation as information, silence as dominance, and patience as his sharpest blade. This is who Machiavelli wrote for. Not the dreamer, not the idealist, but the realist who understands that the world does not reward the emotional. It rewards the strategic. It rewards the disciplined. It rewards those who refuse to be moved by forces beneath them. From this moment forward, you carry a new code. When they insult you, you will study them. When they provoke you, you will observe. When they attempt to drag you into chaos, you will remain the calm at the center of the storm. Not because you are weak, but because you are operating on a level they cannot comprehend. They will wonder why you do not react. They will be unsettled by your stillness. They will question whether their words even reached you. And that doubt, that confusion, that subtle fear they feel in your presence, that is your power made visible. You do not need to announce your strength. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. Your composure speaks louder than any argument. Your discipline commands more respect than any confrontation. Your mastery of self makes you dangerous in ways they will never fully understand. Let them keep their tantrums. Let them keep their outbursts. Let them keep their petty wars and emotional explosions. You are no longer playing that game. You have transcended it. You have built a kingdom within yourself that no external force can shake. Empires rise and fall. Opinions shift like sand. People come and go. But the man who has conquered himself remains unbroken, unshaken, untouchable. This is your path now. Walk it with the coldness of a strategist and the patience of a king. Remember everything you have learned here. The trap of anger, the game beneath the game, the mask of indifference, the reframe, the power of silence, the detachment from outcome, the clinical view of people, the sovereignty over your inner world, the long game. These are not just ideas. These are weapons. Use them daily. Practice them relentlessly. Let them become so ingrained in your psyche that reaction becomes impossible and response becomes effortless. Now, I ask something of you. If these words have shifted something inside you, if you feel the change already beginning, drop a comment below with this phrase: I am the storm they cannot move. Let that be your declaration, your line in the sand, your signal to yourself and to the world that the old you has died and the new you has taken the throne. And if this message has brought you value, if this philosophy has opened your eyes, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so you never miss what comes next. We are building something here, a community of men who refuse to be controlled. A brotherhood of the strategic, the patient, the untouchable. You are one of us now. Welcome to the game.